Hello, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Henry, your host, and as always, I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Sarah. Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Henry, and hello to all our wonderful listeners. We're so happy to have you here today.
In today's episode, we're going to tackle something that many English learners struggle with, overthinking when speaking. Do you ever feel like you need to plan every single word before you say it? Or maybe you're afraid of making mistakes, so you stay silent instead of speaking? Well, today, we're going to help you break free from that.
That's right. The key to speaking English fluently isn't about thinking more, it's about speaking more. And today, we'll show you how to stop overthinking and start talking with confidence.
And Sarah, I know you have a personal experience with this. Can you share a little bit about your journey with English speaking?
Oh, absolutely. When I first started learning English, I was so worried about making mistakes. I would spend so much time in my head trying to form the perfect sentence, but the more I overthought, the more I froze. It wasn't until I started just speaking, without worrying about being perfect, that I really started improving.
That's such a great point, and I think so many of our listeners can relate to that. So today we're going to help you overcome that fear and start speaking with confidence. We'll talk about why we overthink, how it affects fluency, and most importantly, practical tips to help you stop thinking and start talking.
And we even have a fun speaking challenge for you later in the episode, so stick around for that.
Sounds exciting. So, are you ready? Let's get started. All right, now that we know what today's episode is all about, let's dive into our first big question. Why do people overthink when speaking English? Sarah, what do you think is the main reason?
Oh, there are so many reasons, but I think one of the biggest is fear of making mistakes. A lot of learners feel like if they say something wrong, people will judge them or laugh at them. So instead of just speaking, they get stuck in their heads, trying to create the perfect sentence.
Yes, and that fear can be really paralyzing. But let me ask you this. Do native speakers always speak perfectly?
Absolutely not. Even native speakers make grammar mistakes, forget words, or say and all the time. But the difference is they don't stop talking because of it. They just keep going.
Exactly, and I think learners need to realize that making mistakes is completely normal. In fact, mistakes are a sign that you're learning. But let's talk about another big reason people overthink. Perfectionism.
Oh, that's a huge one. A lot of learners want to sound fluent and intelligent, so they try to construct the perfect sentence before they even open their mouth. But here's the problem. While they're thinking so hard, the conversation keeps moving. And by the time they finally decide what to say, the moment is gone.
Right. And the funny thing is, trying to be perfect actually slows down your fluency. The best way to become fluent is to speak more, not to think more.
Exactly. And that brings me to another reason people overthink: lack of confidence. If you don't believe in your ability to communicate, you're going to hesitate. You'll second-guess yourself, and that hesitation makes it even harder to speak naturally.
That's such a great point. And confidence doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. The more you speak, the more confident you become. It's just like learning to ride a bike. You can read about it all day, but until you actually start pedaling, you won't really learn.
I love that example. And speaking of hesitation, another reason people overthink is translating in their head. Many learners try to translate from their native language to English before they speak, and that takes too much time.
Yes. And the problem with translating is that languages don't always match up perfectly. Different languages have different sentence structures, idioms, and ways of expressing ideas. If you try to translate everything, your speech will sound unnatural and slow.
Exactly. Instead, it's better to think in English as much as possible. And don't worry about finding the perfect words, just use the words you already know.
That's such a great tip. So to sum up, people overthink because they're afraid of mistakes. They want to be perfect, they lack confidence, and they try to translate everything. But here's the good news. We can fix all of these problems. And in the next section, we'll tell you exactly how to do it. All right, now that we know why people overthink, let's talk about the solution. How can English learners break free from this habit and start speaking fluently? Sarah, what's the secret?
The secret is simple. Stop thinking, start talking. It sounds easy, but I know it can be difficult for learners. So let's break it down. Why does this work?
Well, think about how kids learn their first language. Do they sit there analyzing grammar rules before they speak?
Not at all. They just listen, copy, and keep talking, even if they make mistakes. And that's exactly how adults should learn too.
Yes, but adults tend to complicate things. They worry about getting every sentence right before they even open their mouth. But real fluency doesn't come from perfect grammar. It comes from constant practice and real conversations.
Exactly. And here's something really important to understand. Your brain actually learns faster when you make mistakes while speaking. When you correct yourself in real conversations, your brain remembers it much better than if you just studied from a textbook.
That's so true. It's like learning to swim. You can read about swimming all day, but you won't really get better until you jump into the water and start moving.
I love that example. So here's what I always tell my students. Speaking is a skill, not a test. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to communicate.
Exactly. And another important thing, when you stop thinking and start talking, you actually sound more natural. Native speakers don't speak in perfect textbook sentences. They speak casually, they use simple words, and they don't stress about little mistakes.
Yes, and this is why we always encourage learners to focus on speaking naturally, not perfectly. If you hesitate too much, it sounds robotic. But if you just keep talking, even with mistakes, you'll sound much more confident.
So, the key takeaway from this section is, fluency comes from speaking more, not thinking more. Your goal is to communicate, not to be perfect.
And in the next part, we're going to give you some practical strategies to help you stop overthinking and start talking right away.
All right, now that we know why overthinking is a problem and why speaking more is the key to fluency, let's get into the most important part, how to actually stop overthinking and start talking.
Yes, we've got some really useful strategies that you can start using right now to improve your speaking skills. Let's go step by step.
The first strategy is simple but powerful. Speak first, fix later. One big mistake learners make is stopping mid-sentence to correct themselves. Sarah, why is that a bad habit?
Because it breaks your flow. When you stop to correct every little mistake, you slow yourself down and make speaking feel stressful. Instead, just keep talking. You can correct your mistakes after the conversation.
Exactly. Think of it like playing a sport. If you're playing soccer, you don't stop every time you make a mistake. You keep going. Speaking English should be the same.
So, next time you're speaking, don't stop yourself. Even if you realize you made a mistake, just keep going. Communication is more important than perfection.
All right, strategy number 2. Use simple words and sentences. Some learners think they need big, complicated vocabulary to sound smart, but that's not true at all.
Yes, even native speakers use simple words most of the time. Instead of worrying about fancy vocabulary, focus on expressing your thoughts clearly. It's much better to say something simple correctly than to get stuck trying to say something complicated.
Right. Instead of overthinking, just use the words you already know. Over time, you'll naturally learn more advanced words, but for now, keep it simple. Now let's talk about a technique that can really help with fluency, shadowing. Sarah, can you explain what that is?
Of course. Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and repeat exactly what they say, right after them, like an echo. This helps train your mouth and brain to think in English without translating.
And the best part, you don't even need a partner for this. You can do it with a YouTube video, a podcast, or even a movie. Just play a sentence, pause, and repeat it out loud, mimicking the pronunciation and rhythm.
It's one of the fastest ways to sound more natural and stop hesitating when you speak.
Here's another great tip. Set a thinking time limit. If you usually overthink before speaking, give yourself just 3 seconds to think and then say whatever comes to mind.
I love this. It forces you to trust yourself and speak naturally. If you wait too long, you'll start doubting yourself again.
Exactly. It's okay if your sentence isn't perfect. What matters is that you speak. The more you practice this, the faster your brain will get at forming sentences. Now, this one is obvious, but it's the most important. Practice speaking every single day. Even if it's just for a few minutes, daily practice makes a huge difference.
Yes, and you don't even need a partner. You can talk to yourself in the mirror, describe what you're doing throughout the day, or even record your voice and listen back to it.
And if you do have a speaking partner, even better. Join an online language exchange, talk to a friend, or even practice with AI chatbots. Just make speaking a daily habit.
All right, let's quickly recap the 5 strategies we just talked about.
Number 1, speak first, fix later. Don't stop to correct yourself, just keep going.
Number 2, use simple words and sentences. Fluency isn't about big words. It's about expressing yourself clearly.
Number 3, shadow native speakers. Copy their pronunciation, rhythm, and natural flow.
Number 4, set a thinking time limit. Give yourself 3 seconds to think, then speak.
And number 5, practice speaking every day. Even just 5 minutes a day can make a big difference.
If you start using these strategies today, you'll see huge improvements in your speaking confidence.
And coming up next, we have a special speaking challenge for you. So get ready because you're about to put these tips into action. All right, now that we've shared some powerful strategies to help you stop overthinking and start talking, it's time for a challenge. Sarah, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready, and I hope our listeners are too, because this is your chance to put everything we've talked about into practice.
Exactly. So here's how this works. We're going to give you a simple speaking challenge that you can do right now, no matter where you are. And don't worry, it's easy, fun, and will really help you build confidence.
Okay, here's the challenge. Talk about your day for 1 full minute without stopping.
That's right. Set a timer for 1 minute and just start talking. You can talk about what you did today, what you plan to do later, or even what you're doing right now.
And remember, don't stop. Even if you make mistakes, even if you repeat yourself, just keep talking. The goal is to train your brain to think in English without hesitating.
Exactly. And if you get stuck, don't worry. Here are some simple questions to help you keep going. What did you do this morning? Did you eat something? What was it? How do you feel today? What's one thing you're looking forward to?
If you can't think of something, just describe what's around you. For example, I am sitting in my room. There is a cup of coffee on my table. I feel relaxed. Keep it simple and natural.
Yes, the goal is not to be perfect, but to keep talking. And after 1 minute, take a deep breath and celebrate because you just practiced speaking English.
And here's the fun part. After you finish, let us know how it went. Did you find it easy? Difficult? What did you notice about yourself while speaking?
If you're feeling brave, you can even record yourself and listen back. This will help you track your progress and notice small improvements over time.
And if you want extra practice, try this challenge every day. The more you do it, the easier it gets.
That's right. So go ahead, pause this podcast, set a timer, and do the challenge. And when you're done, come back because we've got some final motivation for you before we wrap up. Welcome back. If you just finished the speaking challenge, congratulations. You took an important step toward becoming more confident in English. And if you haven't done it yet, no worries. You can always try it later. The key is to just start.
Exactly. And remember, fluency doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey, and every time you speak, you're improving. Even if you make mistakes, even if you feel nervous, just keep going.
And let's be honest, learning a language is not easy. It takes time, effort, and a lot of practice. But the most important thing is that you don't give up.
Yes. And think about this. Every fluent English speaker was once a beginner. They all made mistakes, they all felt nervous, and they all had moments of doubt. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple. They kept going.
That's right. So if you ever feel discouraged, just remind yourself you are learning, you are improving, and you are doing better than you think.
And the best way to keep improving? Speak every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel.
So here's our final challenge for you. For the next 7 days, do the 1-minute speaking challenge every day. Just 1 minute. And at the end of the week, notice how much more confident you feel.
That's such a great challenge, and if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next one.
And don't forget to share this episode with a friend who's learning English. Let's help more people stop overthinking and start talking.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember, fluency is not about being perfect. It's about being brave.
We'll see you next time on the English Learning Podcast. Until then, happy speaking. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the English Learning Podcast. We hope this episode has helped you feel more confident about speaking English without overthinking.
Yes, remember, the key is to keep speaking, even if you make mistakes. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel.
And if you found this episode helpful, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, if you know someone who struggles with speaking English, share this episode with them.
And we'd love to hear from you. Tell us about your experience with today's speaking challenge. You can leave a comment, send us a message, or connect with us on social media.
All right, that's it for today. Thank you for joining us, and as always, keep practicing, keep speaking, and we'll see you next time.